Hey, good morning, everyone. Wednesday, January 8th. 41 degrees below the temperature water freezes, also known as 9 below. Thank God there was no breeze this morning. I'm not ready for it. It's going to get worse. Okay, a couple of quick things. Going to be a quick video. I got stuff to do, don't you know? It's happened to me more than once. I make a video about every week, thereabouts. The last time I was complaining about the endless stratospheric aerosol injections creating these blankets of death blotting out the sun. As soon as I post my video, probably 4 or 5 in the morning, by the time the sun's up, it's up. Clear blue sky. It's happened more than once. You don't think the deep state is monitoring your humble messenger's channel, do you? It says, hey, better quit spraying. Dave is onto us? Nope. I'd never suggest such a thing. I'm way too humble for that. Okay. So, it's going to get cold. I see the weather forecast. Had to run to the tragic city, mine in North Dakota, yesterday and get coal. And I'm on the way back listening to News and Views out of the Flag radio station, Cape Fire out of Bismarck, talk show. And I could have pulled over and puked. All it was chest thumping, saber rattling, pro-Trump BS. And Pompeo's live speech concerning the murder and missile attack on Soleimani, the number 2 man in Iran. General, I think he was. General Soleimani. It was sickening. I wanted to pull over and puke. And then I wanted to flag down a car and say, hey, let me borrow your electronic satellite transmitting cattle tag, because I don't carry one, and I can call in the show and straighten this guy out. Scott, get your head out of your you-know-where. Pompeo, is that your new hero? Quote, unquote, says Scott, radio talk show host. The best Secretary of State Trump ever had. Well, how soon we forget and how many times I and others have told you, those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. Let's do a little reminiscing here. Very short. Pompeo, your hero, Scott.
I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
The glory of the American experiment. We lied, we stole, we cheated. But now that I'm Secretary of State, none of that happens anymore, of course. Give me a break, people. Wasn't this CIA director? I mean, isn't the CIA the deep state? Isn't that the one that conjured up the Russian gate, trying to throw Trump out, testifying on his impeachment? Isn't that the deep state? Trump, you're surrounded by the deep state. You are the deep state. Okay, well, since I didn't have my digitalized satellite tracking cattle tag, couldn't make the call, I go, well, leave him to his own opinion. He's entitled to it. He has a right to it. So I get up this morning, got to get breakfast in. I have a pack of cigarettes and a pot of coffee before I run the dogs. And up on my YouTube feed is a 7-minute blurb from Fake Fox News, the Hannity Show, and who's his guest? Well, if it isn't that darling little fairy, Lindsey the Fag Graham, senator from South Carolina. South Carolina, what's wrong with you people? How do you guys, I mean, you guys are bad as Minnesota when it comes to electing people. And what did this little queer have to say? Share with the world? Quote unquote, Iran's got to learn a lesson. Trump's got to teach Iran a lesson. 40 years they've been stirring the pot in the Middle East. Troublemakers, terrorists. Hey, little fag boy, little queen, little Lindsay, you brute, listen to this and listen up. I know a shitty little state in the Middle East that has been stirring the pot and killing and having millions killed for 70 plus years. They were created in terrorism. The Irgun, the Stein Gang. Come on. What is the problem with you people? And he talks and nobody remembers. Nope. We got to worry about a country surrounded by U.S. military invasion bases, invaded Syria, invaded Iran, or what to, invaded Iraq, still in Afghanistan, And our American mercenaries, if there were even 600 killed, are going to point the finger at leaders and say, you're the terrorist state. That's their backyard, people. We're in their backyard. Does anybody ever once ask their Congress critter or senator, hey, what are we doing there? Whose interests are really being served? I think we all know whose interests are being served. That shitty little state, that 70-plus year terrorist state, terrorist, assassin, and snipers of children. Anyhow, so where am I going with that? Again, history repeats itself. 2-minute quick video, just a quick reminder from September 20th, 2001. And wasn't that the same deep state that lied to you about the causes of 9/11? Wasn't it 15 of the 19 hijackers from Saudi Arabia? We invade Iraq. Osama bin Laden was in Afghanistan. Obama killed him. Give me a break. Tossed his body out at sea. Colonel Tim Osman, CIA operative. Remember? We lie, we cheat, we steal. Misdirection, people. Okay, let me remind you of this from the General, Wesley Clark.
Iraq, not Iran. I knew why, because I'd been through the Pentagon right after 9/11. About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me, and one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, No. He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran."
Okay, didn't play the whole thing for you, people, but you remember that one? Yeah. September 20th, 2001. The people that lied to you then, lied to us back then, are lying to us now. Like I said, I don't know anything about this General Salamini or whatever Solani, whatever his name was. But who's the terrorist, really? Who's in whose backyard? Who's in Syria and was never asked? Yeah, Russia's there, but they were invited. Now the U.S. is in Syria, won't go, and stealing their oil. And Trumpstein wants to take more of Iraqi oil. And Iraq wants the U.S. the hell out. Had enough of your shit, U.S. And I hate to see our military used as mercenaries. I really do. But they're not fighting for our freedoms. Give me a break. Ask your congressman, why are we there? People of South Carolina, ask that little Queen Bee. Why are we there? Lindsay? Makes you want to puke. Remember, people, I don't want to lose anybody here, but I told you, there's more reasons behind all this than meets the eye. I told you in previous videos, the Apostle Paul, most prolific writer in the New Testament, clearly states in Ephesians 6, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but powers and principalities. I introduced you to a prince, a principality, Gog, G-O-G, of Magog, M-A-G-O-G. Number 2 man on Team Evil. Yeah, spiritual stuff, people. And I'll tell you something. The imposters that have moved in and taken over You can't say the word. You get banned. That shitty little state in the Middle East. Yeah, you know the one? The Quacking Ducks. The original northern 10 tribes were put into Assyrian captivity, and they were dispersed and kicked out of the Holy Land before Jesus Christ walked the face of the earth. They went somewhere, people. And I know some of you have read some books that said, oh, they migrated to the English Isles. Oh, they're in the USA. No. We're Babylon. And Jerusalem is Little Egypt and Sodom. But I'll tell you where the tribes are. Kurdistan. You know, part of Iraq, part of Iran, part of Turkey, part of Syria. Philippines. Now, where else did the southern tribes go 2 years later? The Sudan, Somalia, Central Africa. It's all in the Bible, people. Psalm 83 war, gearing up. If I was to give you some free advice, I'd get me some rice, some beans, and some bullets. Because I have no crystal ball. I have no clue where this thing's going to go. But there is a bigger, darker picture. And it was clearly revealed to you 2,000 years ago in the #1 seller of all time, least read, dustiest book laying around a person's house. Yeah, the Bible. Okay, tell you how bad I am at sober balling and prophesizing. I'm going to go out on a limb. Hey, Murray, put a fork in your Vikings. They're done. They're not going to beat San Francisco. The Super Bowl is going to be Green Bay and Chiefs. You heard it here first, Wednesday the 8th of January. Let's see what kind of a profit I'd make. And I am not getting this from above, people. I am talking out my own you-know-what. All right, till next video. Wonder what kind of day we're going to have. I am heading to the coldest place in the world. You think it's International Falls, Minnesota? Wrong. It's the parking lot of Walmart in Botno, North Dakota. The coldest place on the face of the earth. You guys have a good day. I got stuff to do.